Hey guys, welcome back to the Around the Leagues podcast. We're back to the Skype call. We've been away from that for a couple weeks just because there's nothing really we could do. So we've been playing some MLB the Show. I've been playing. I don't know about Keenan, but that will lead us into a little note. Hopefully, for the moving forward, we will be having 2 episodes a week. If we can get our schedules to work, we've got a lot of stuff going on with, there's still stuff we got to do, but we're trying to do one show like we're doing now, just a regular podcast, and then later in the week we'll do a stream of some kind and try to give as much quality content as we can muster up. So I'm looking.
Yeah, our sponsors hit us up and was like, "Hey guys, this is so good. We need it twice a week." And we were like, "Well, who are us to say no? You know what I mean? Ignore my grammar." But I don't know if you guys have noticed this week, both hands in the video. If you guys haven't noticed, for like the last 10 weeks, I've basically been doing this holding the phone. We got a little bit of a different setup out here. As you can see, I'm out here in the wilderness, running the streets. You feel me? I'm out here relaxing. Beautiful weather out here. Beauty of being able to shoot this podcast anywhere. Basically got the phone attached to a set of postal diggers. It's into the ground right now, so we're having a little bit of fun. So we got a great show on.
It's free as well, but I'm always on a computer, so that's
yes, sir. We rocking the Mitch Marner today. Shouts out to Mitch. Go Leafs. F the Red Wings, and we're here. We're doing business today. So Luke, we got a good show here for you. Obviously, we're on a Skype call for a reason. We got stuff to talk about. We've been promising it for a few weeks, and today we have it here for you live. Luke Parrish's 7-round mock draft. It has been talked about for many shows now. We finally have it finalized. We're going to discuss that on the podcast today. Luke is going to discuss some of his more surprising picks. Going to talk about Tua Tagovailoa a little bit. And we'll talk about maybe some fun stuff at the end of the show. Maybe discuss our plans moving forward. But before we get started, Luke, today you're going to be the star of the show. I know.
Sir,
you're the one who made the mock, So I'm out here enjoying myself. I'm going to take a little bit of a back seat. So, Luke, tell me what you want to talk about today.
I like it. Yeah, so
yes,
earlier this week I finished up a 7-round mock draft. All 255 picks. There's usually 256. I haven't done the research yet. I don't know who had a pick forfeited or where that last – it might have just been a comp pick that wasn't awarded. But, yeah, because there's typically 32 comp picks added to the end of rounds 3 through 7 combined. But I went through, made 255 picks. Before I even get into it, I will say, so I have my big board. It came out, I believe, last Monday. Top 400. I've still added to that. I've made a couple changes here and there. A mock draft, or at least my mock draft, is not representative of my big board. For instance, I have a guy, I believe, in my top 20 on my grades, but he doesn't go in my mock until I think round 4 or 5. So
that's disrespectful. Just
because I grade highly or low doesn't mean that's going to be where I think they're going to be selected, and that's just kind of how the things work.
Well, it's a good thing because I know you put a really low grade on our favorite offensive tackle from Oregon.
I will say I did fit him in. I believe I had him go in the 7th round to somebody. So Throckmorton.
Let's go. Let's go. Oh man, I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I'm
excited.
So, yeah, I use the Draft Network. They have a mock draft machine. So I just did that to help keep track of picks. I didn't do any trades because that's just too much to keep track of, obviously.
Okay.
And it's almost impossible to predict. But I'll release this out probably either tonight after we post this show. Might put it out just tomorrow morning. That way I can make sure it's cleaned up and everything. But I'll put this out so you guys can read along. I'm not going to go through all 255 picks. That's just absurd. But I will. So I'll give you my top 5 right now. So number 1, Cincinnati. They're going Joe Burrow. They're dumb not to.
Okay.
I'm going to take Justin Herbert. I like Herbert, not as the first pick. I like Burrow. He's a Cincinnati guy. Jones Jewett even said, they should go for Herbert because he knows how to play in tough weather. Well, Joe Burrow is from Ohio, so he knows the Ohio weather more than anybody else in this class. So that's just kind of an odd take on things, but that's a no-brainer pick. Joe Burrow, number 1. Washington, number 2. Chase Young. Chase Young's my best player in the class. I think he's far and away the best player here. Perfect grade. Not a lot of flaws with his game. Monster of a human. Elite pass rusher. Comes from Ohio State, who pumps out pass rushers like it's their job. Just in the last 3 years, you've had him, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, and Sam Hubbard even came out, I believe, 2 years ago, and he's with Cincinnati. So good defensive line work out there. So I like Ohio State, and I like Chase Young quite a bit. Number 3, going right back into the Buckeye well, Jeff Okudah to the Lions. Jeff Okudah, my number 1 cornerback, one of the best cornerbacks to come out in the last 5 years or so. He's up there with Jalen Ramsey as a prospect, just in terms of his technique is sound. He knows what he's doing. He's very fluid as an athlete, and his ball skills are off the charts. I think you're not really going to find a lot of cornerbacks that are as NFL ready as Jeff Okudah is right now. So he just seems like the obvious choice. Detroit needs a corner because they just traded their stud Darius Slay away to the Eagles, which you should be very excited about that one. Darius Slay's top 5 corner in the NFL. Don't at me. Number 4, the Giants. My brother, Caleb, Giants fan.
Whoa. Pause. I thought he stopped being a Giants fan whenever they got rid of Odell.
I mean, he goes back, I think he still is a Giants fan, but he's trying to get off that shit, but I just don't think he has it in him. There's always room over here with the Vikings if he really needs it, but
that's fair.
He still looks forward to seeing how bad the Giants screw everything up. So I gave him Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker, kind of like a Venger role type player out of Clemson. I love the pick. I love the player. I think that's something that Dave Gettleman's going to want to do for the Giants. They do need to fix their offensive line. They could even add a receiver, but that's super high for a receiver in a loaded class where you already have so many needs. But Isaiah Simmons is one of the best players in this draft. He can play corner. He can play safety. He can blitz. He can play just pure inside linebacker. He can play off ball. He can do pretty much whatever you want him to do. And I think at number 4 overall, you got to find somebody like that. So I really like B. And then number 5, the Dolphins. I do think they probably trade up for this, but Tua Tagovailoa, I think he's still 5. I think he's going to be the second quarterback drafted. Not where I have him ranked, but I do think he's a top 5 pick when it's all said and done. I do want to mention, so I like Tua. I think he's a good leader on the field. I think he's very capable of throwing. I just have so many concerns with. He's had ankle injuries. He's had the bad hip injury. His mechanics look very odd. He's a left-handed quarterback, but I believe he's right-handed. I want to say that when he was a kid, his dad kind of taught him to throw lefty so he could stand out a little bit. I could be wrong, but I think it was him. I don't know any other left-handed throwers. So he's got kind of like a low arm slot. I think it's going to hurt him a little bit. I mean, I still think he's a very talented player. I think I have him 36th or 38th overall on my big board. So number 5 is a reach, but it's a guy that you can get as a franchise quarterback. So, and as I go through and I talk about different reaches and stuff like that, I don't think drafting a quarterback can ever be considered too much of a reach because there's always the potential of them being your franchise guy. And I'll trust your scouting department to do their job. If you think a guy's going to be your game changer, you got to get him no matter where it's at. So
sure.
I think he goes top 5. And then, so I guess to compare, I think Tua's my number 3 quarterback. I have Burrow is number 1 by quite a bit. Number 2 would be Justin Herbert, who I have going right after Tua. I think I have him going 6 in the mock, so pretty flip-flop there. And then right below Herbert is Tua, and then after Tua we have Jacob Eason out of Washington. Really like Jacob Eason. Big guy, strong arm. I think I'm going to like him more and more as his career kind of goes on. Same with Drew Lock last year, which I've kind of written down here. I did not like Drew Lock last year as a prospect, and then he comes in makes his first couple starts for Denver, takes over the team. Loved him. He's one of my favorite young quarterbacks in the NFL. I think I think Jacob Eason's in that same boat. And same with Jordan Love, another guy, good athlete, strong arm, just inaccurate, and came from a small school, so it'll be difficult to kind of see how he adjusts. It's going to take them time to get acclimated to the NFL, but I don't know. The quarterbacks are good, but they drop off quite a bit after the top three, and then again after the top five. It's not a whole lot.
Big drop off.
Yeah, like Jalen Hurts, I'm not crazy about him. I keep seeing people say he should go first or second round. I think he goes second round, but I don't think he should. But yeah, moving on. Obviously, in a draft that doesn't go boards, right? It's not number one player goes first, number two goes second. So you're going to have guys who are reached on. I don't know the word. I don't know terminology there. Players who are reached for, and then players who drop and they get great value. So, like Tua would be a reach, but he's a quarterback, so he doesn't count, as I already said. But my other big reaches, I have Antoine Winfield Jr., safety / cornerback out of Minnesota. I have him going 18th to the Dolphins. He's 38th on my board. That's one of the bigger reaches in my first round. That's 20 spots slotted ahead of where I would rank him. But I do like what he can do for Miami because Miami has two solid cornerbacks now. They need a safety, and they need a game changer on defense, and they need veteran leadership. And Winfield's only a redshirt sophomore, but he's 22 years old. And part of the reason I have him rated so low is because he's that old, because of so many injuries. He's had, I think, 2 ACL injuries since he's gotten to Minnesota. His dad played for the Vikings, one of my favorite all-time Vikings. So it's tough to rate him low, but I think there's just a lot to worry about with injuries and stuff like that. But I think he probably is one of the first safeties off the board, if not the top guy. So wouldn't be surprised to see him go round one. And Miami could really use him. Miami could be one of those teams that turns things around in a heartbeat, as we've kind of talked about in the past. They had a really good free agency period. So if they can get an offensive tackle and a solid playmaker on defense, they could legitimately compete this year if they have the right quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And then my next reach would be Ezra Cleveland. I think that's how you say his name. Offensive tackle out of Boise State. I have him ranked number 100 overall, but I have him going top 30. So I think he's a very athletic tackle, but he's not. I mean, he hasn't popped. He's not a physical dominator, but I think there's talk that he goes first round or at least top of the second. And I think for his fit, I think he would fit perfectly in Tennessee because they lost Jack Conklin. Jack Conklin was their star right tackle, goes to Cleveland. Now the run game's going to take a hit because they can't really sit and run behind the right side of their line like they want to do. Well, now you can get Ezra Cleveland, who comes in as a good athlete, kind of fill that same role, not to the same degree that Conklin was, but enough in a way that you can coach him up still. You still got the whole offseason, maybe, if team facilities ever open back up. But I think it's a reach, but I think it's one that systematically it works. So I can't be too mad at that. But then on the other side, my biggest steal of the first round, Trevon Diggs, cornerback out of Alabama. I have him ranked number 15 overall. I know a lot of people don't have him that high anymore. He kind of dropped off after a somewhat low down season for the Crimson Tide, but I still think he had a good year. I think he's got all the traits you want, and I think he fits perfectly into San Francisco's cover 3 defense. So him dropping 15 to 31 basically on my board. Great value. The Niners get their starting corner. They can basically look to the future once Richard Sherman's gone. This is probably his last year of, I guess, like positive play. He was fine last year, nothing crazy. He still struggles in man coverage, so they need to start looking ahead. But yeah, San Francisco looks good, and I think I have them getting Jerry Jeudy earlier in the round. So that's all 13 and 31. So you can't be mad at that. You got to live with that one. So I'll let them continue their dominance of the NFC West. So yeah, that's basically round 1. Everything else is pretty normal. I have the Jaguars landing Jordan Love if he falls at 20, which is a bit probably low for him. But again, if he's there at 20, the Jags have to take him. On day
Now,
two,
let me ask you this. Well, I was
yeah.
going to say, let me ask you this. On day one, that's when you're drafting superstars. That's when you're drafting your
Hopefully,
franchise
yeah.
guys. Day two, that's when you start to fill some needs, try to get some good players, maybe try to find some Pro Bowlers on day two. Day three, that's where you really make your money as a GM. Is that correct?
Pretty
Day
much.
three,
I mean,
that's where you make your money.
yeah,
Who on? Go
teams
ahead.
are built through day 3 of the draft, right? That's where you get your special teamers, your role players, the guys who make the impact that don't get talked about. So for every Odell Beckham, you have to have a Sterling Shepard, who was a day 2 pick, but still was an important player for that Giants team when they were somewhat competitive. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
day 3 is crucial. I mean, it's where you get your depth and everything.
for every Jamarcus Russell, there's a Tom Brady. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. All right.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
Speaking of day 2 and day 3, is there anybody on your board who goes off on day 2 or day 3 who could make a significant impact year 1 in the NFL?
There's a lot. I mean, obviously you'd have to look at, where they go because, like, I mean, for instance, if you look at Patrick Mahomes, right, obviously he was a day 1 guy, but if he doesn't go to Kansas City, he's not having the career he's having because he doesn't have the chance to sit behind an elite offensive mind. He doesn't get to sit behind Alex Smith for a year and kind of learn the ropes of the NFL. So obviously situation's going to matter here, but I mean, there's a lot. I mean, T. Higgins, I still have him as a round 1 player, or at least fringe round 1. If he goes, I mean, he's probably going to go middle of round 2, top of round 2. If he goes to the Jets and becomes their number 1 receiver right off the bat, yeah, he's going to be an enormous talent. He's going to be a high impact guy right out of the gate, similar to Terry McLaurin last year for Washington. Came out of Ohio State, I believe he was a 2nd or 3rd round pick. I can't remember for sure, but he broke in, became their number 1 receiver, and led the way. Was one of the top rookie receivers in the NFL. So situation, I mean, it plays every bit of a part into it. And I still think, I mean, it's tough to find starting offensive line late because all the good ones are going to go early because you're going to need that bookend. You're going to need that staple of your offensive line for the future. And a lot of teams are going to take whoever they believe first round. And so that value is going to drop off a lot, especially this year. I don't think there's a lot on day 2 that you can be crazy about. Julian Okwara, one of the better edge rushers. I think he goes round 2, probably middle of round 3 or beyond. He could even fall to day 3 depending on how teams value him differently. But I like him a lot. KJ Hamler, wide receiver, Penn State. High impact return guy, blazing speed, moves out of the slot well. One of the best slot fade receivers I've ever seen. But he's very limited in that regard. He's not very big. He's not going to line up outside and just win on intermediate routes. He's going to need to play short and he's going to need to play long. So he's going to be limited in that regard. But if he goes to, say he goes to Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh develops receivers like it's nothing, right? And they can turn anybody into a Hall of Fame guy. Well, then he's going to break out and he's going to have a crazy year. He's going to be put on special teams. He's going to dominate. He's going to be an all-pro as a kick returner right off the bat. So that's one to look out for. And then my favorite guy is Amik Robertson, the corner out of Louisiana Tech. Shout out Louisiana Tech. Another one of Caleb's favorites. Don't know why, don't know how, but here we are. I think he has potential to be one of the top 5 nickel corners in the NFL, which is a very underrated position. People don't really value it a lot. Like you see in free agency, a nickel corner is going to get $3-4 million a year when they're playing a pivotal role because a slot receiver is dicing up defenses and they don't want to do anything to stop it. So if you can get a guy like him, probably goes in the top 90 picks if I had to guess. Get him in the middle of round 3, plug and play starter right off the bat, playing inside and shutting down the middle of the field. So I think he's definitely a guy to watch out for. A team like Buffalo sticks out to me as a team who would want to target him, play him next to Tre'Davious White, one of the best young corners in the NFL, and let your switch get at it. So, yeah, I mean, I like Amik Robertson. Day 3, it gets tricky because obviously you can't really predict who's going to go. Lynn Bowden, wide receiver, running back, quarterback at Kentucky. He could be a high-impact guy just because you can get him the ball in so many ways. The guy I was talking about earlier, Daniel Thomas, he's my top. I think he's number 15 or 16 on my board right now, but I don't think he goes until day 3. I think he's a first-round guy. I think he's one of the best players in this draft, and I think if you can just put him in as a box safety, he can just tear up the run game. He can blitz the passer. He can drop into coverage well. I mean, he has safety experience. So day 3 is going to be tough, but I think you find guys like that. John Hightower is another one, wide receiver, Boise State. He can he's just a vertical stretch guy. He can just, I mean, he's got blazing speed, 4.3 guy. He'll run, he'll beat you down the field, and he'll take the top off the defense. And he's not going to be your best route runner. He doesn't have great hands, but he's got speed, and he can turn anything into a home run play. So you got to hope to find him late in the draft and see what happens. Sick.
I like it. I like it.
But yeah, I mean, there's day 2. I think is going to be a fun experience. I mean, we've already seen, by the way, several teams today announced that they're going to. I mean, the NFL is doing a virtual draft. Every team has to do it from home. I think Washington had said that they're going to, like, Dwayne Haskins is going to be on a video chat, and so fans can ask him questions. By the way, that probably means that Washington is not taking Tua at 2 overall. They're not going to put their quarterback out there to announce that they just took his successor. But that, I mean, it could happen. Don't get me wrong. I just highly doubt it. But it'll be interesting because, I mean, teams are going to have to do a lot more homework now more than ever because you don't have these face-to-face interviews.
Sure.
You can't really meet with guys. You can't do physicals as much as you would want to. So it's going to be tough. But, I mean, there's so many talented guys who are going to drop. I mean, if you're looking top of round 2, Denzel Mims to the Colts at 34, first-round player in my books. Ross Blacklock, very next pick to the Lions, first-round player on my board. A.J. Terrell, first-round player. Noah Igbenogany. I don't know how to say it. Igbenogany.
Well, let me ask you this, Luke. Let me ask you this. So this year, presuming we have an NFL season, we don't know that. I mean, hell, I'm social distancing right now, and I still feel like I'm too close to people. I'm just saying. Okay? Assume we have an NFL season this year. We're going to have an extra playoff team, okay?
Yeah.
This year, one of those teams like the Rams last year, who would have been the 7th seed, playing the Packers on weekend 1. You know, this could be a make or break, draft for him. Who needs to win the draft this year, later this month?
As a homer, I'll say the Vikings because they bought the offseason really bad. And the draft is deep at positions they need, right? Cornerback, wide receiver. They need those. They need offensive tackle. They can get that top of the draft, I think, pretty well. They've got to hit their first 3 picks. They pick at 22, 25, and 28. If they can get a starting corner, a starting receiver, and maybe a starting offensive guard at 58, then you're successful. If not, then it's going to be probably a tough road because you're not going to have the weapons you need. The Denver Broncos.
Well, it's a good thing the Knicks aren't, the Vikings this year because the Knicks would have drafted 3 quarterbacks. I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah.
I'm just saying.
You got to get as many throwers as you can because then they will never throw an incomplete pass. Duh.
Knicks are terrible. The Knicks are terrible.
Dispute that. Yeah, the Knicks suck. But yeah, I mean, the Broncos, they were a fringe playoff team. Drew Lock's going into his second year. If he doesn't hit that sophomore wall like a lot of people do, if they get him, a guy like Henry Ruggs at 15, starting wide receiver to go next to Cortland Sutton, who's probably a top 12 receiver in the NFL right now, big size guy. He can go down the field and stretch the field. You put Henry Ruggs next to him and let him eat out of the slot, well, then your team looks vastly better right off the bat. And they've got 2 big guys outside because they have Tim Patrick as their number 2 receiver right now. He's like 6'5". That right there, I mean, and they have a slot guy in Deshaun Hamilton. The Broncos have a good core in place. they go into the second round and they get an offensive lineman of some sort, whether it be I gave him Lloyd Cushenberry the third, an offensive guard. It could be Austin Jackson, a left tackle out of USC. They can kind of add enough pieces. Their offensive line sucks, obviously. It has since Peyton was there. But, I mean, you get a receiver, offensive line, and maybe a corner because they lost Chris Harris later. The Broncos are a tough threat. Obviously, they have to go through the AFC West, but they were the 8 seed last year. The Chargers lost their quarterback, unless they get Cam Newton, which is a whole different topic. I want Cam Newton in LA like it's Christmas or something. Like I need him in LA. They would be top 5 team in the NFL with Cam Newton.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I will,
That's a bold.
I will say, assuming he's healthy, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and say if he's got issues, but if he's fully healthy, that's a top 5 defense. They have a chance to draft an offensive tackle at 6 and protect Cam because their offensive line's been ass since 2015. They can't stay healthy. Their offensive line's probably missed more games than they have played.
That's funny. Oh my god.
The Chargers can be dangerous with Cam Newton. I just don't know why they want to stick with Taylor. Who else wins?
I didn't realize you didn't like the Chargers O-line that much.
Dude, they haven't been healthy in so long. They didn't get they got Trey Turner though. That can be okay. They got an offensive guard.
Oh my god, that's funny.
The Browns can be a draft winner again. Get a starting left tackle at 10 after you pick up a right tackle. Pick up a safety at 41 or 42, wherever they pick in the second. Well, they turn it around right there. They fill their biggest hole in offense, biggest hole in defense. Their offense still has Juice Landry, Odell Beckham, Austin Hooper, David Njoku, Nick Chubb, and Baker Mayfield. He's got 2 good pass protectors. Plus, I think they still have Joel Bitonio. Yeah, Cleveland's a top 10 team if they draft well. We just know that they don't necessarily draft so well.
Cleveland, they're one of those teams that just always finds a way to be bad, right? They're just terrible. They've been terrible for the last 25 years. They can't figure it out. I don't know why. I mean, I have no confidence in them come draft day.
Yeah, I don't either. They do really well at splash signings, but they don't really do well outside of that. I don't know. I like Baker. I think he's still going to be okay. But a lot of his troubles last year weren't his fault. I mean, he had a lot of passes dropped. They don't really have that third receiver, which is what I think Austin Hooper is going to do for them. He's going to slide in as that. And so they picked up Kevin Stefanski as the new head coach.
And let's call a spade too, all right? Freddie Kitchens, boy, my mailbox over there could have done a better job at coaching the Browns than what that garbage bag did, all right? Dude, trash can of a coach. Dumpster fire, sludge at the bottom of the barrel. Absolutely terrible head coach. Should not have been the coach in the first place. Wasn't nearly qualified. Hope he never gets a job in the NFL again. He embarrassed the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I could have done a better job. But I'm just saying, dude looked there's a reason he got 16 games. And really, I don't know if he should have got that many.
That's like a record. Like, not that many coaches get 16 games and are fired. I mean, it happened, 2 years ago with Arizona. They had, I can't even think of the guy's name.
Because he only lasted 16 games. That's why.
Yeah. He came over defensive coordinator from Carolina for a season, and they fired him for Cliff Kingsbury, which was a good move. I understand that one. Cleveland, there's going to be people saying, like, Odell doesn't deserve to be making this much money. Odell's still a top 7 receiver in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're double teaming him and your offensive line sucks, well, Baker has no time to throw, so he's either throwing it at double coverage at the line, or he's throwing to Jarvis Landry, who's probably the best number 2 receiver in football. some of the best hands in the league. Not crazy speed guy, but Jarvis Landry doesn't get any sort of respect. So I mean, you can't sit here and expect Odell to go for 1,300 yards like you would typically expect when he has
Sure.
another top 20, top 25 receiver next to him. It's boneheaded, I think, to believe something like that is a realistic possibility. But yeah, so they picked up Kevin Stefanski as their head coach. He came from Minnesota. I wasn't crazy about the guy. They throw so
Now,
many fullback screens,
well,
but
now let me say this with Freddie Kitchens. Maybe I'm being a little harsh on him. Okay, I don't have any NFL experience. I'm not claiming to say I do. All right, really, to be a coach in the NFL, you gotta have something. You gotta bring something to the table. All right, they had way too much talent on that team to be as mediocre as they were.
yeah,
Okay, you don't become that mediocre with that kind of talent unless you have very, not just poor, but very poor coaching. Okay,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he lost that locker room by the bye week. All right, they did the right job by getting him out of town. I'm surprised he made it to the end of the year. Stefanski, if he could just come in and be average, I'm not even saying he's got to be good. If he could just be average, that team could be in position
And
for a playoff spot now that there's a seventh spot. I mean, granted, maybe we give a little too much flack for Kitchens. Maybe we're too hard on certain people and everything. But I mean, come on, you're an NFL coach.
yeah,
Like you can't be if you have Odell Beckham, you have Baker Mayfield, you got Nick Chubb running the ball.
which
You've
led
got
the league in rushing, I believe, or was
yeah,
second to Derrick Henry.
like you have all these pieces, right? And they're not just like punters. Okay, they had the best punter in the league for a long time. All right, just because he had the most exposure. But
Yeah,
you can't have that much talent at skill positions and not even be in contention for a wild card spot. I mean, dude,
and they have. I
Stefanski.
mean, their defensive line is good. I mean, for the most part, they had Sheldon Richardson, Miles Garrett,
Now,
Olivier.
granted, Garrett was suspended for the last 6 games of the season due to the helmet incident. But still, in those first 10 games that he was available, it's not like they were in a playoff spot. It's not
No.
like they were leading the division. Now, granted, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens had a great year last year,
And they
but
blew
still,
out Baltimore.
yeah. I mean,
I
that
don't
just
get it, but yeah, so it's just weird. I mean, they had so much out. They lost Joe Schobert at middle linebacker, which is going to be it's going to look like a small move to I think the average watcher, but it's going to be a huge impact for them unless they can fill it. But he was a very cerebral guy for them. Of course, I'm not saying that just because he's white. He's not a cerebral player or whatever because he's a white dude. He was just very conceptual guy. A very good athlete. He moved around well. He's a prototypical middle linebacker. He recognizes plays. He gets his job done. He just doesn't take over games like you would necessarily want, but very
sure.
good player. And I think it will be interesting to see Cleveland because I've watched the Vikings a lot, right? Kevin Stefanski has a very similar situation he gets to work with. Just think, okay, in Minnesota, he had Dalvin Cook, Adam
Okay.
Thielen, Stephon
Yep.
Diggs.
Yep.
In Cleveland, he's getting Nick Chubb,
Yep.
Beckham, and Landry.
Yep.
This last year in Minnesota was Stefanski's first year as the play caller on offense. And he gets Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith at tight end. Well, now he gets Austin Hooper and David Njoku. Both are
Yep.
the upgrades on who they would have been, what he had in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Offensive line is much better than it was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Baker.
Let's not. I was about to say, let's not act like Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins. Let's not act like those two are in totally different leagues here, okay?
I think
Kirk Cousins has had 9 tries at Monday Night Football and hasn't won once. Okay, like let's be honest.
Yeah,
You know?
but I mean, if you put, but I think Kirk's better than Baker. But I think Baker's still, I mean, he's still young. He's developing. He could still be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He just has to put it together. He's got a somewhat solid defense. He's got good draft picks. He's picking top 10. Stefanski's going to get to run his offense. He's going to get to run the 2 tight end sets and kind of move Njoku around as a screen guy, put him in the slot, let Austin Hooper eat against tight ends. If Cleveland can't put this together, it tells us a lot about Stefanski and a lot about Cleveland. I mean, we already know.
Well, and I was going to say, yeah, and it's like we're probably giving a little too much time to Cleveland based on their recent record of success. But for the last couple of years, people have been excited for Cleveland. They're like, this is going to be the year they put it together. They're going to be playing January football, this, that, and the other. And each year, it's just been nothing but disappointment, right?
Yeah.
And once again, the Browns now, especially with an additional playoff spot, it's getting easier to play in January, right? You've got more talent. Hopefully, you have a more competent head coach. I mean, granted, I can see where you can be excited if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, but if week 5 or 6 comes around, and say Halloween weekend comes around, and you're 3-5 or 4-4,
it's not going to be great.
No,
it's not. I will say though, they do have a tough division this year. Obviously, Baltimore's returning. We'll see if teams can figure out Lamar Jackson. I mean, we've seen that a lot with option style
quarterbacks. Yeah.
Their defenses pick up second or third year. So maybe they can pick up on that, but still, Baltimore's got a loaded roster. Their defense is only getting better. They've got elite secondary play. Pittsburgh's getting Ben Roethlisberger back, which they desperately needed. They were a fringe playoff team last year with, 3 different quarterbacks throughout the year, just one on their hat in the ring. So maybe they can get back to what they were. They still have good receivers. Their defense is always going to be good. They just need solid quarterback play, and their offensive line needs cleaned up a little bit. But Cincinnati, they're not going to be an easy team to beat. Just a couple of years ago, they were somewhat, I guess, respectable. Not good, but I mean, they could at least give you a fight if they wanted to. And now they're going to get Joe Burrow. They have a bunch of draft picks. They had a solid free agency run. They shored up the secondary. Offensive line's getting healthy because 2019 first-round pick Jonah Williams, he's back from injury. AFC North is
something. Now, something that'll be interesting, all right? So, obviously, this is way too far down the road to predict. We're only in April. Season doesn't start till September. Maybe August if they get rid of one playoff game to make room for that 17th game in the schedule. Let's say the COVID-19 crisis extends well into the summer. Let's say that they've got to shorten the season from 17 games, and let's say they got to shorten it down to – throw a number out there.
12.
12. All right, let's say you play 12. So that means you're playing each team in your division twice. You're going to play another division once. And so that's, 10 games right there? And then you're going to find 2 games in someone else's division. So now all of a sudden, instead of playing, 30% of your schedule, or I guess it's more than that, what's 6 divided by 16? That's 3, 8. All right, so 37.5, okay? A little quick math there. We're live, all right? Give me some slack. All right, so you're playing nearly 40% of your schedule, against people in your conference. Now that goes up to half, okay? Now you're playing half your schedule against Baltimore. You're playing half your schedule against Lamar Jackson, Ben Roethlisberger, and Joe Burrow. Now, granted, I'm not ready to put Joe Burrow into the category of Lamar Jackson and Ben Roethlisberger just yet. But am I saying that, Joe Burrow can't sneak one out at home? No, I think he could. That's why they're going to pick him at number 1 to be able to. So I think, if this coronavirus issue does shorten the season, I do think that hurts the Browns. I think that does hurt them.
The Browns are already hurting because today would be the first day that teams with new coaches get to. I think they have workouts or some sort of on-site training, whatever it is. But they can't do that because of the facility being shut down, so they're losing that opportunity. And then, side note for myself, if the season is cut down, that means Vikings probably don't come to Indianapolis. I only get this once every 8 years. I want to go. But if they don't come, I will probably make a trip somewhere else to catch them. But
I understand. And it's I don't know. I think this is going to be it's a big year for football. Obviously, football has the potential to be the one North American sport this season that is not affected by the coronavirus issue. Now, of course, the longer we go into this, the less likely that happens. Of course, I don't want to get people watch the show as a relief from that kind of stuff. But the reality is we have to address it because it does affect what we're talking about. And so, is it possible that the NFL delays their season 4 to 6 weeks in order to get a full 17-game schedule in? Could we have a March Super Bowl? I'm not saying it's impossible. I think if you have that, I mean, if the NFL's moving their season back, not only is the NBA and NHL not crowning a champion this year, they're probably having a shortened season next year. And so I think, obviously there's a lot of moving parts. It's only the first week of April. There's a lot of time for all this to kind of play out and for things to develop. But I think you got to make, you got to keep that in mind. I mean, if you're, there's some prop bets out there that, it's like, who's going to win more games this year, New England or Tampa Bay?
That's not even close.
No, oh, dude, it's even money. It's even, dude.
Is it really?
Yeah, dude, it's even. It's like minus 110 for each side.
Yeah, I'm taking Tampa Bay by a mile.
Oh, yeah. No, that bet will be, you could cash that out in November before Thanksgiving. It would be, dude, like, I saw that the other day. It was wild. But it's like, if you, like, I don't know, man. It's going to be exciting. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. We got the draft here in a few weeks. Obviously, we're going to be looking forward to it. Luke, I believe, like last year, you're going to be live, covering that live on Twitter, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to try. It'll be tough because I don't know how broadcasts are going to work, right? So I don't know I don't know how ESPN's going to do it. I'm going to use the Bleacher Report coverage. So they usually get their picks a little bit early before it's announced on TV. So I try to use that, and then I tweet it out and give my grade. We'll see how much I can do that this year.
Sure.
It is. Oh, God. I would say it's my birthday weekend, but that doesn't even matter because I can't do anything. So I was supposed to be in Vegas for it, but here I am stuck here in shitty old Shelbyville. So
hey, shouts out to Shelbyville, okay? We're not going to slander Shelbyville like that, all right?
I think we are.
What's your mascot there in Shelbyville?
Golden Bears.
The Golden Bears? Oh, we're not going to say anything bad about the Shelbyville Golden Bears. You feel me?
Trust me. You would have saw our mural on our firehouse a few years ago. Yeah, you'd be making fun of it too.
So let me ask you this. So
uh-oh. Are you there? I lost connection to Keenan over here. What happened?
Can you see me?
Yeah, there you are. What's up?
All right. Woo! Boy, I was getting nervous there. Sometimes out here in the wilderness, you don't know what's going to happen. Out here in the wilderness. You feel me? I come from a street where you can't walk and chew gum at the same time. You feel me? I don't know what's happening out here in the streets, dog. So anyway, as I was saying, ESPN basically showing the Ocho all day, right? They're going to show these games of people playing horse from remote locations and doing it over video, and they're doing these 2K turns. Do you think that sucks as much as I do? Oh, my God. I cannot stand it.
Yeah. Well, how do we know that their baskets are similar?
Yeah. Are they both 10 feet high? If you're going to be doing dunks, how do I know you're not dunking?
It's going to be tough. I don't understand it. I will say, as much as I hate 2K, I've had nothing to watch, so I have been watching this 2K tournament. I spent 2 hours watching Apex Legends on ESPN. Dog, I need something.
I understand. I
I
understand
play on
that.
the show all day, despite, I am kicking ass in my road to the show right now. I
Oh
got a
yeah.
3.2 ERA through 18 appearances, so
What kind of ERA?
0.32.
Jeez.
I was at 0.2 and
What
my
are you
defense started blowing. So
doing? Playing on beginners?
I wish. No, I think I'm on like veteran or something. Whatever it came with.
Don't you hate don't or well, it comes with dynamics. So
Well, yeah. I said it to I think it's veteran then.
okay,
I always play
but
veteran for that.
well, I always hate whenever someone hits a line drive in the left or right, and your defender dives for it, and it hits their glove and it hits the ground. They count that as a base hit. What's
Yeah,
going on? He should have made the catch.
I had
He
one.
should have
It
made the
was.
catch.
I think I was in the 8th inning of my start. I went starter, bullpen, closer, back to bullpen, and then I started again. I'm in the 8th inning of my second start midway through the season, and I walk a dude because every pitch hit the corner. They called it a ball. I don't know where I need to throw this thing. Next dude grounds it to second. Second baseman. I mean, it's hit like 38 off the bat. Not very hard. Dude bobbles it. It eats him up. So I got first and third now because the guy somehow gets to third on the bobble. Next dude. Oh, no. Yeah, that's right. Next dude grounds to short. He throws it into right field. Then the dude pops it up to left, like shallow left. Dude takes his first step like 3 steps to the left, has to turn, run the other way, dive, misses it. They bring in a run. I'm like, oh, damn. So just like that, it counts as an earned run because the first guy got on himself. I was pissed. It was only my second earned run allowed on the season. I'm in like mid-June. But yeah, I just
God, I hate that so
can't
much.
wait to get back to it and kick your ass later this week.
Well, we'll see about that. You got chill yet?
No, not yet. I'll look into it.
Oh, disappointing. I've been working on my between the leg and the celly work. My celly work exquisite, right? Unfortunately, in the show, you can't take your bat and flip that thing 20 feet in the air because for somewhere, I mean, you probably get dinged in your next bat. But that's taking 94 speed. He's taking second on the next pitch. But I digress. My dude in the show tougher than a $2 steak, okay? All right, I'm just saying. Say what?
Who'd you get drafted by?
Miami.
Dude, what round?
16, I think.
Damn. So I did one as a third baseman, right? And I go to Baltimore in like the 17th. I'm like, bullshit. So I go to school or whatever. I ain't playing for Miami. I come back and get drafted by Detroit.
Oh.
Like the 16th. Okay, bullshit. I get drafted as a second baseman. They move me to third. I'm like, I hate playing third. I hate that shit so much. All right. So like, whatever. I ride it out. I'm now in the big leagues with them. I was like, all right, I'll do one as a pitcher. I get drafted by the Marlins in the 15th. I'm like, dude, what do I have to do to get drafted by a good team? I've been picked by the 3 worst teams in baseball. Yeah, I make it to the big leagues in 2 months because there's nobody there.
So I went in as a shortstop, right? And because I did one as a pitcher and I did one as a shortstop. I actually did 2 as a pitcher. I did one as a knuckleballer, one as a fastballer. So the one that I did is my shortstop. I get there and the guy, like, immediately, first week in AA, guy's like, "Hey, buddy, we're gonna move you to left field." And I'm like, "Yeah, that makes sense."
I can't.
And I'm like, maybe this
shit's hard.
Yeah, it's like maybe this gets me into the league faster, right? So I go to left field, and they're like, "Oh, this is only gonna be for a few weeks. We want to try it out, right?" So I'm in left field, and I'm just catching pop flies and hitting the cutoff, man. Just miserable, right? I hate it. They're not even giving me any of those cool dive or rob home run style deals, right? And so, like, finally, like after a few weeks, Skip calls me into the office, and he's like, "All right, kid, we're gonna put you back at short, but it's nice to know you can play left field." And I'm like, okay, cool. So I go from AA straight up to the main roster in Miami, right? And then, like, so I get moved up as a shortstop. And then, like, I'm playing there for a couple weeks. I'm jacking at 500 feet. I mean, I'm getting ready to set records, okay? I mean, I'm killing the game. All of a sudden, like, dude's like, hey, so how would you feel about going to left field? I'm like, whoa, no. Because, like, I'm like, if you do it a second time, you got plans on putting me in left field permanently, and I'm not just gonna sit there and hit bloops.
Did Derek Jeter want to
I'm
play?
not doing that. I'm done. No, I'm a short. Do you know how many games Derek Jeter played in left field? 0. You know why? Because he was a shortstop. He got drafted as a shortstop.
I don't know. I just don't think
so I told Skip, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And Skip's like, nudge, are you sure, buddy? Like, come on, we could use you out there. And I'm like, no, I'm a shortstop. And he's like, yeah, but we really want you in left field. Like, come on, please. Can you do us a favor, cuzzy? And I'm like, no, Skip, I'm a shortstop. And he's like, okay, I admire your passion. I'm going to run this back up the chain and I'll get back to you. And it's like, whoa, let's hold on a minute. You run that up the chain until I'm sticking up their ass because I'll delete the file. I'm not playing as a left fielder for Miami.
Hey, you play left. Sorry, bud.
you put me in left field, I'm deleting the file. I'll start a new game. I'm done. I didn't want to be in Miami anyway. All right?
Like the
Screw this.
Too. Because you're
like,
just putting
put me in
or like line drive base hits. You're not in right where you're hitting oppo shots where you can dive as it's tailing away. You're not in center dudes out the plate. You're just fielding little grounders through the infield.
like left field, it's like left field. Like, okay, so if it's a pop fly to left, it's usually gone, or it's like something super easy where like you just move like very slowly back 6 steps and your guy catches it, and it's like you don't even get to throw the ball. It's like it just automates it like that for you. And it's like you never get an opportunity to throw someone out at home. That's always the center fielder's gig. I hate it so much. So I haven't gotten the message back from up the chain yet. But if Skip calls me into his office and it's like, all right, so we drafted for we drafted shortstop, or we traded for a shortstop, and we're moving you to left.
Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Oh, what is? Hello?
My okay. I'll see you, but I don't
Dog, I am losing you.
see you. Hold on. Okay. So it is on mine. This is terrible.
This is what you guys get.
All right, hold on. Yeah, this is live, folks. We did not plan this. All right, does it look better?
Yeah, you're not here. Ha ha
ha. All right, how does it look? All right, so okay, I had to move the posto diggers quite a way down the line here. So yeah, that's about all I got. As always, we don't like the Red Wings. Screw the Red Wings. They're a terrible team. Nobody should like them. I saw PK Subban post the other day that the NHL should do a 1-31 playoff tournament. Hello, the Red Wings were already eliminated. Get them the hell out of here. I don't like them.
Nah, you're just scared of them.
Oh, yeah. I'm scared of a team that has half the amount of points as the rest of the league. The garbage.
Have you ever seen Judy?
I can't stand them. Well, are you gonna ask me next? Have I ever seen Miracle? Yeah, I've seen that movie.
I haven't.
It doesn't. It's a pretty good movie. I'd recommend it to people who like hockey movies.
Hey,
If you don't like hockey movies, well,
all you guys in the like on the YouTube and shit and on Twitter, send me movies to watch. I can't do anything. I have like no schoolwork.
all right, so we're back.
I have no work. I got nothing going on. Just send me some movies that I should watch. It can be Netflix. It can be Hulu. It can be Amazon Prime, Quibi. I don't care where it comes from. Just get me a movie to watch. I'm bored. Damn, I already watched all of Ozark.
Understandable.
I've watched all my film I need to watch. That's not true. I still have some I can watch. I just don't feel like watching guys out of like Division 3 in Canada. So something tells me they're not.
All right, hold on. We got hold on. We got that poor connection signal again. Apparently, where I was set up at isn't a very good spot to. Oh, son of a bitch! What is going on? Excuse my language, folks. This is live. This is live. I'm gonna run into a tree here in a minute. Hold on.
No, you're good.
All right, hold on.
Behind you. Oh, never mind.
Say what?
There. No, you're good.
Okay, hold on. All right, we back. We better than ever. How about that? Sometimes you do this live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I do
one take, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I do. Go ahead.
All you need. Real quick, back to my board. I do want to mention my top undrafted guys, because obviously you got to find guys that weren't drafted. Adam Thielen, undrafted. Other guys that are in the NFL, undrafted. I don't have any other example. I think Chris Harris was undrafted. He's one of the top slot corners in the league. So, Javon Hagan, safety out of Ohio. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody talks about him. He's probably not even going to get a roster invite. I think that's poor. I think he should be in the NFL. I think he's one of the best safeties in the league.
Talk.
Robert Windsor, defensive tackle out of Penn State. He's in my top 200, I think. Didn't have him get drafted. That's fine. Lawrence King.
Where you got me listed at?
Ooh, my list doesn't go that far. That's all I can say.
I hate that.
There's Lawrence Cager. He's a receiver out of Georgia. A lot of potential out of him. I think he's still raw, but he's got good size. He can play up the middle. I like him a lot. He sounds like a penis. He's not. Jonathan Ward, running back out of Central Michigan, I believe. One of my top running backs, Monquavian Brinson, cornerback out of Georgia Southern, as well as Kendall Valdor, same guy, cornerback, Georgia Southern, both high-quality guys. And then little hometown shout-out, not hometown, Indiana shout-out to Levante Bellamy, running back out of Western Michigan, out of Brebeuf, I believe, Brebeuf Jesuit. One of my favorite running backs in this draft. It's going to be a cool year. A lot of small school guys, a lot of Indiana guys. Jeremy Chin out of Fishers probably is a top 50 pick. Got some stuff
I like that.
Look forward to.
Yes, sir.
It's a fun draft. You guys can always, if you want me to give you feedback on draft night, who knows? I might go live and start answering questions. I don't know how to set that up yet, but I'll do it if I want.
You really gonna do that for the people? Really gonna do that for the people?
If I can set up a Periscope, how do you do that?
Oh man, I don't know. I've been told I need to go on Periscope and just live stream my day out here running the block and stuff, but like, I haven't done that yet. But
I'll tell you what, if you guys, I'll drop it in the comment section or in the however you run a YouTube. I'm just posting shit, right? If you want me to go on Periscope during the draft at any point, or even before the draft, after the draft, the afternoon before the draft, because I think it's Thursday night from like 7 to midnight, then it's Saturday night from like 7 to midnight again, and then it's all day Saturday. If you want me on anytime on Periscope, just let me know, and I'll make it. I'll create a link. I'll tweet it out. I'll Facebook it out. I'll put it on my Instagram story. I'll do whatever I got to do, and I will drop in. I might do IG Live. I don't know. I don't know how this shit works. But we'll go on. I'll answer some questions during the draft if anybody wants them. So
Understand that. We appreciate that.
Yeah, of course you do. I'm a legend.
Oh, man. Shouts out,
yeah,
man. We appreciate that.
It's been fun. I mean, I'm finally like 9 months into it, and I finally finished up everything. Excuse me. And then we're going to have some crazy trade happen. It's going to throw the whole draft off. And we're all going to look stupid. Or somebody like Tua's not going to be able to pass a medical. He's going to fall to like pick 85. And we're going to be like, what happened? Well, I don't know. And that's how it's going to go.
Well, just wait until my NHL draft coverage starts. Basically, it starts and ends with Alexis Lafreniere, and whoever gets in, they're going to win a lottery. And then after that, well, you're on your own. But that's going to be my NHL draft coverage. I'm looking forward to giving you guys the in-depth scoop on that. Go Team Canada, by the way.
And starting on the draft is April 23rd to 25th, if you didn't know. So starting Sunday, April 26th,
okay,
I will be tweeting out 2021 draft. Draft notes, profile, stuff like that. And then I'll be here until next April. So
I like that.
On the horizon. I've already started my big board. Actually.
Well, let me ask you this. Speaking of, I guess this is kind of a different subject. You play fantasy baseball, right?
No.
Well, I do. Okay, and I gotta say I've been killing it so far. This first week or so. I drafted coronavirus in the first round, and boy, let me tell you, he's pitching a shutout against the whole league so far.
He's killing it.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad. I'm surprised he got slept on. I had the third pick. I was for sure he was going to go 1 or 2, but he slipped to number 3, and I picked him.
Who went ahead of him?
Say what?
Who went ahead of him?
Mike Trout went number 1, and then number 2. Say what?
Trout can hit off of him.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, coronavirus wasn't even the first pitcher off the board. The first pitcher was DeGrom. It went Trout and DeGrom in my draft. Now DeGrom, he was not number 2 worthy. I don't think he should have went number 2 in our league. But for him to go ahead of Virus, boy, that's a bold move. Super bold. But so far, coronavirus is whipping the rest of the week's ass like a government mule. All right. I mean, say what?
He's like a week and a half up.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, he's just paintbrushing the hell out of these cats. He's showing how his paw print different. First year in the league, and he's already making. Be looking out for him.
I like it. He's gonna be tough. He's gonna have a long. Hopefully, he's gonna have a long career. But
yeah, I mean, I don't need him to have a long career. I just need him to perform well this year.
Yeah.
So
not even the whole year. Just go like half the year. Trade him at the deadline. Get your picks. Get some quality stuff going forward, and then maybe baseball's back, and he's just not ready for.
I mean, so far, he's giving me a lot of value. I'm hoping to trade him at the trade deadline, get value back for him. So that's the plan.
Absolutely.
All righty, guys. Well, I think that's probably going to be it here for us. We've been pretty thankful and being able to have about an hour's worth of coverage here to give you. Luke, is there any last notes you want to give us about your draft coverage this year before we wrap up the show?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, I'll just try to keep posting stuff as much as I can. I've been kind of quiet on Twitter this week just because I haven't really felt like logging on.
Sure.
I've just been kind of tired, but yeah, I'll just be posting different stuff throughout the week. We still got a little over 2 weeks until the draft. It's 2 weeks from Thursday. So there's still stuff you can find. And then 2021 starts.
Yeah.
I've got my top 3 big board ready for next year. I can't think of the kid's name. But the 3 players I have down ready to scout as soon as it's possible, obviously Trevor Lawrence. High expectations for him. Justin Fields, Ohio State quarterback. And then North Dakota State. They've got another quarterback. I'm blanking on his name. I want to say it's Logan something, but they expect him to be a riser next year. So knock them out early next year, because obviously you can't grade based off of sophomore tape, but we'll see what happens. I like it. I think next year's class is going to be probably just as fun as this year. So
I like it.
I like it.
Well, guys, you can follow us on Twitter. Mine is at Keenan Allstott. Luke, where can they find you at?
At Luke Parrish _NFL. It's Parrish with 2 R's also. Don't get that twisted. I'll put it.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it confused. All right. Don't get it. Yeah. Okay. And so with Instagram, I'm going to try to get a little bit more active on the gram. I've been having some requests by exactly 0 people, and so a lot of demand there. So you can follow me on Instagram at Keenan's Corner. Spell corner with a K. You spell it with a C. You ain't gonna find me, and you shouldn't at that point because you didn't spell corner correctly. And so you can find me there. You can find me on Facebook. Add me. I might add you back. I might block you. I don't know.
I'll run my own. I don't need no manager.
Yeah, I mean, I do what I do, man. I do good. I do my own thing, man. I'm a lone wolf in that wolf. So, but that's where you can find me. I'll try to be a little bit more active. Later this week, we'll be streaming. I guess we'll be streaming the show again, won't we?
Yeah, at least this week.
Okay.
We'll see how many.
So you can find us playing the show this week. Yeah, so hopefully we'll stream the show later this week. Hopefully everything kind of stays in schedule. We'll tweet out when you can expect it. We'll drop a few stories, try to make you guys laugh a little bit. Hopefully I'll get on the scoreboard against Luke this week, and we'll have some fun in the meantime.
And you guys come in. Let us know what.
Other than that, that's all I have this week. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We
gotta figure out. We've exhausted our options at this point. I'm kicking ass with whoever I want.
Ooh, don't say that. Also, we discussed the possibility of potentially using minor league ballparks and minor league teams last week. Let us know if you're interested in that.
Oh yeah, I did forget about that. Yeah, I'm down for that. Minor league.
I'm down. Yeah, man, you gotta give them cats some shine. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, dog. They earned it.
So that's all I got for everybody out there that still has to be out. Please remain safe. Obviously this stuff is not going away anytime soon, and so we wish health and safety for all of our listeners. And if you're not listening, we still wish you health and safety because we're good people like that. But unless you're a Detroit Red Wings fan, then well.
You know what they say? Everybody in Michigan sucks.
Well, not everybody, but
Michigan fans, Red Wing fans, yeah.
Yeah.
If you live in Little Caesars, you might as well be Carol Baskin.
That's funny. I like that.
Bitch.
Yeah, I mean, Little Caesars did come from Michigan, so I mean, we got to give them that.
No, that's not a positive on the score. You know how baseball, there's runs, hits, airs? Yeah, Little Caesars goes up as an air. It's like 6.
Hey, that got me through college, man. That got me through college.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like I enjoyed it.
Well, it was either that or Sparks.
Okay? Pizza Hut sucks. Dude, just because it's better than Sparks doesn't mean it's good. I mean,
Oh, gosh. Well, guys, please tune in later this week. We'll have more of this kind of content for you, and we're looking forward to doing so. So, unless Luke's got anything else, we're going to sign off here.
No, I am good. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later this week, and hopefully we can give you guys 2 a week.
All righty, guys. Peace out and be safe.
Yes, sir.